Good morning. Hey, you guys. Wow. I put myself in the sun. Here comes the sun. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. And I say, it's all right. Beautiful, beautiful. I do love the sun. Um, so, what came to me this morning to just chat a little bit about is that the the what seems to be the fact that we can't see ourselves, that we generally, and this has been my experience, judge ourselves by the values of society or the standards set by our parents or the industry we're in or the government or and we kind of don't really see ourselves. We're always looking at ourselves from a basis of am I doing okay? You know, and we am I good enough? Am I often judging ourselves by whether our friends come around or whether the phone rings or uh, by how much money we have or those kind of things. And so is that really us? Is that really you? So it's clear to me that from my own experience that I have spent my whole life in judgment of myself and others based on those things, and I've spent most of my adult life since probably my early 20s or even before searching for what was missing. It didn't seem right, and but at the level of where I was living, I couldn't see that there was another possibility of who I am, and I couldn't see that there was. I couldn't see that I couldn't see. I didn't know that I didn't know, and I didn't realize that I was living, so below my potential. Not in my level of achievements, but in my potential as a human being, and Toby, there is nothing wrong. That's the thing. We can't see ourselves, so we don't really believe that. We're really caught in the idea. We're measuring ourselves all the time, and measuring those around us, and we're hard on our family. We're hard on our relationships because nobody is nobody's good enough. We're not good enough, and they're not good enough because we're basing our assessment, if you will, on a set of standards that aren't true, that aren't real, that aren't they're based on who has money or who's nice, who's friendly, who does what we want, and it's all bullshit. It's not. It's conditional. It's totally conditional. It's living in the duality of life, but we can't see it when we're in it. And so when somebody comes along, like a Muji or Ram Dass or Jesus or Buddha and gets level, it's all of a sudden wakes up and sees that we can be free here. We can be absolutely free, and our freedom can help free others. It's but the the thing that I'm seeing is that hardly anybody believes that they're not free. So we're living in this, reasonably comfortable jail of our opinions, and our judgments, and the judgments of others too. Because we judge ourselves on their judgments. So We are, nothing's wrong except the whole foundation, in a way. But nobody told us. It's the human condition. But we can still be here and really be here, happy, joyous, and free. We can realize. We call it self-realization. We can realize, and it's not for the faint of heart. It really does take some doing. It's like, okay, this is the most important thing in my life. How can this become the most important thing in my life? To awaken, to see myself, to not defend, to not blame, to not go to victim, to actually say, okay. So first of all, I think we have to realize that that's what wants to happen. And if that's what wants to happen, then, I believe we need to be with people who have that as a priority. Just a fact. Just a fact, yeah. I mean, in any circumstance, we're attracted to the people who are living the way we want to live or going the way we want to go. And so find that group of people who have awakening as a priority and hang with them, right? It is a process. And there's roadblocks. Hi, Tracy, I love you. There's a process, and it's so easy because there's actually opposition. There's opposition. The opposition is in here. And the opposition says, oh, I don't need that, right? The opposition says, no, I'm okay. The opposition tells us that, that this is crazy. So there's our own ego, who lives in here, the old persona is fighting for its survival. It wants to stay in what it knows. And so that's, for me, why I recognized it. Yes. So anyway, the old persona has lots of excuses. And it's okay. And I understand why, when I listen to the Dalai Lama and I watch Muji, how compassionate they are. Because most of us are caught in it. We don't even know it. We're caught in the old persona, and the old persona has excuses. It's full of yeah buts. It's full of complaint. So, but even this morning I had this, almost sickening realization of my own prison. And when we can see that we're stuck, then it's like, okay, I see it, and I see that my thoughts are not me, and I see that my persona is not me. So it's a beautiful place to be. But it was like, oh gosh, not to beat me up, not to be, to judge myself, just to realize, oh my gosh, I've been programmed from as a little boy. I was programmed, and by people who weren't well, by a society that wasn't well. So, yes. So I'm here. Toby, let's talk today. I hear you. Let's chat today, and and I'm here for all of us, for you, for anybody who has an interest in awakening, and so not just making their life better or more, padding in their cell, more comfort in their confinement, but actually breaking out, and it's not, it's just, it's really something. It really is. That once you become aware, once you see who you really are, your divinity, and it's all about, we call it spirituality, we call it God, those words are so limiting. And it's just that in We Agnostics, in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, in We Agnostics, it talks about the steel girder being a mosaic of atoms, and there's really no steel girder. It looks like a steel girder, but we know that it's millions of atoms, and they're circular. And now those little atoms have an intelligence. They don't know. First of all, the steel girder thinks it's a steel girder. It doesn't know it's atoms. That it's makeup. It doesn't know that it's the same as everything. It thinks it's separate. It's a steel girder. And it hangs together on that. So we think we're separate, but we're not. We're made up from the same energy, the same essence as everything. And that everything is universal intelligence. Yeah. We're limited because we have no names. We get into concepts, but we are that. We are that, and that in our natural state is love. It's bliss. It's unconditional love. Yes. So, stick with it. Stick with it. I'm going to read this little book here in a second, which I read every day, the 24-hour day book. It's a beautiful little reminder. Often, he's got a good grip of it. And then starting on, I think, what did I say? Tuesday, the 4th or the 6th. I forget now. In early October, we're going to read the Bhagavad Gita. We're going to read the Bhagavad Gita. And we're going to start at 11 o'clock. So get the copy of this book. All right? So we're going to do it on Zoom, and I'm going to try to, do some stuff where I can show the pages that we're reading. I have to really I have to become a little more tech to do it, but I'm sure it's going to work. And we're going to start from the beginning. And this rendition, this translation was written by Stephen Mitchell. It's beautiful, and it isn't a story of awakening. It is an amazing story of awakening. It's one of the centerpieces in the Hindu faith. I'm not a Hindu. I just know that this was an amazing piece, not anything, which is kind of beautiful. I'm, I don't identify myself as any particular, anything that we identify with, that we say, I'm this, I'm that. It keeps us in the illusion. We can be free and still, be so open and loving. The 12-step program, why it's worked so well is because it's not based on identity. Other than we say we're alcoholic, that's always so just to remind ourselves that where we came from, and that we have that thinking, that we have, that we're selfish and self-centered, and is to be relieved of that selfishness and self-centeredness, to be free, to be love, which is our natural state, to be who we really are. And that's it. Okay, I'm going to read this really quickly here. What day is it? Oh my gosh, I always forget. I know it's September, and I'm going to say, is it the 25th? You guys, hey, anybody there? Is it the 25th? Yes, I think it is. No, I think it's the 24th, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to go with the 24th. Anybody got any clues? I should. I just always forget. It's okay. September, baby. What a beautiful day. We got to go for a ride in my motorcycle. It's gorgeous. Okay, September 24th. Thought for the day. Let us continue with step 12. We're talking, somebody tell me what day it is. It's the 24th. Okay, thank you. That's awesome. That's what I wanted. I thought so. Let's continue with step 12. This is a little book, 24-hour day book. We must practice, it says, these principles in all our affairs. This part of the 12th step must not be overlooked. It is the carrying on of the whole program. We do not just practice these principles in regard to our drinking problem. Actually, In the recovery program of Alcoholics Anonymous and in NA and CA, we don't talk about the problem at all, other than to recognize that we have had it, or we have it, or that symptom is there in our lives. But we're not dealing with the problem in the problem ever. So we practice them in all our affairs. We practice them in all our affairs. We do not give one compartment of our lives to God and keep the other compartments to ourselves. Guess not. Because there is no separation. There is no, it's just almost a ridiculous statement that he's saying, but I hear what he means. We give our whole lives to this infinite intelligence, this moment, this be here now, this God that we, as we understand him or don't understand him, and try to do his will in every respect. So we're conscious. We stay conscious. We be conscious. We be aware. Herein lies our growth. Herein lies all the promises of the future. An ever-widening horizon. Yes, it does. It just gets... We start to really see ourselves. For me, this awakening didn't come because I sat on a corner and didn't do anything. It's come because I've really screwed up a ton of times, in relationship and friendships and business and in every aspect of my life. And it's in my screwing up that I've seen myself and recognized that, and surrendered. So even though I stopped using and drinking years ago, this growing has come out of making mistakes, and sometimes they weren't mistakes. They were stuff I did out of fear, and selfishness and anger. So yeah, the growing comes in our awareness. Meditation for the day. Lord, to whom all shall go, to whom shall we go but to thee? Thou hast the words of eternal life. The words of eternal life are the words from God, controlling your true being, controlling the real spiritual you. They are the words from God which are heard by man in their hearts, of course, because there's nowhere else, right? And minds, when these are wide open to his Spirit. These are the words of eternal life, which express the true way you are to live. They say to you in the stillness of your heart and mind and soul, do this and live. So the thing is, it's not he's not talking about a doctrine, a set of rules. He's talking about being present in each moment to hear the intuitive thought, to know what needs to happen in this moment. And that's what it talks about in the promises in step 9. Be here now, and in this moment, we know, we're aware. And our busyness kind of goes away. There's much less to do. There's much less to do. And there's no hurry, because we're one with this. We hear the voice. It's not really a voice, and it can be a voice. We just know. So it's beautiful. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may follow the dictates of my conscience. I pray that I may follow the inner urges of my soul. Yes, the dictates of my conscience. And I pray that I may follow the inner urges of my soul. So that's pretty cool. Be here now. That's where the action is. Everything else is an illusion. And practice. Be with people who are on this path. And the doors will open for you. And help others. Reach out and help others. There's so many, who, need a solution. And the solution, of course, isn't, like Jesus said, teach a man to fish. Teach a man to fish is to help him find his connection, his oneness, her oneness, their oneness. So yes, if we have to feed a man or feed a woman this day or help somebody with a place to stay, all of those things, that's great. But ultimately, it's so that they can find themselves, their true selves. Okay. Love you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll talk soon. What day is it? Thursday. Monday night coming up next week. I just want to remind you, Monday we do our meditation. We're online, Zoom and Facebook Live and all of that. So I'll send out reminders of that. It's fun. I'm enjoying this, you know. And then soon we get into reading the Bhagavad Gita. Get a copy. Okay. Cheers. Love you lots.